Recording's up.
Okay, we're back out of executive session. We've only got a few minutes left in our meeting today. I guess first of all, any questions of Ashley, Sandy, regarding the fire hose of information we just took in today?
I think I would just say that before we can seriously consider implementing any discount or free service or promotions, we do a good analysis of the financial implications to make sure we're very clear how it's going to impact us.
Yes,
Absolutely.
And that, oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
No,
Ellie.
I was going to say that's perfect, Ross. I mean, essentially what we're looking for is a blessing on the concepts, and the next phase is to go and refine them, run that financial modeling before we actually pull the trigger on anything. 100%.
And it will be subject to governing board approval before we pull the trigger on them, and executive committee approval.
Do you want a straw poll blessing, or how do you want to do it, Steve?
Let's do a straw poll. Why not, Nancy? Let's do it in the negative. Does anyone feel that this is not a good idea since it's just a preliminary investigation? Is there anyone who would object to further engaging this process? Raise your hand or say aye. Okay. Well, let's consider that a go. And again, I think that there's a process that we expect is going to get lots of sunlight between now and when we actually start doing what we're being told about. I think Ashley, let's. I do have one other item I want to cover with the executive or the governing board. So I think we'll thank you for your time, Ashley. You're welcome to stay on. We're only going to be on for a couple more minutes, but if you want, you're certainly welcome to stick around for a few minutes.
We'll let you have your time. I've taken a lot of it already today. But again, thank you very much, everyone, and happy holidays to you all.
Thanks, Ashley. Thanks, Kelly,
Ashley.
too.
Thanks, Ashley.
Okay.
All right, so I have only one item that I want to cover with you. I know we don't have much time anymore. All right, let's do it this way. All right, so I warned you that I was going to ask you all about this. This is basically, this ties into a lot of what we've been talking about, which is basically that we have multiple obligations and we also have a strategy on how we want to proceed with Maple Broadband. And so what you're looking at is the first paragraph is basically our top priority is to fulfill our obligations under our Act 71 construction grant. And that is because all the money that almost all the money that we've spent building what we have so far is under the terms of that grant, which means we have to ensure that every address in Maple Broadband Towns has access to high-speed internet. So that's kind of our high-level priority, but that's kind of within reason. We're going to, those obligations will be fulfilled soon, maybe next year, maybe sooner. But after that, what are we going to do? There's two things we could do. One thing we can do is we can stop building and call it a day, or we could continue to build. And so our suggestion here in this priorities list is that if our financial viability is maintained, we will continue to expand our network to serve all on-grid addresses that lack access to internet speeds of 100 over 100. And really, those of you who know anything about bandwidth know that the problem is that if you're on a coaxial network, which is Comcast, you're never going to get 1,000 megabits per second, and it's not symmetrical. So it's tolerable today, but we also know that over time, the demand for increasing bandwidth is probably a given. So our expectation is, and what we're looking for your support on, is that we're looking for your okay to continue to build our network to serve basically any place where there's fiber is not present. So the most obvious example would be Virgin's, which is almost exclusively Comcast. So almost everybody there has their bandwidth is not nearly as good as anywhere else that Maple Broadband serves. There's other parts of our CUD that also are served by Comcast, and so we would also be wanting to serve those. So what I'm looking for from you is kind of an agreement in principle that once we fulfill our Act 71 obligations, we're going to continue to build. And we're going to focus on how we build and where we build and when we build. Perhaps one other item worth pointing out is that we don't do anything without your okay. So everything we do is going to be subject to governing board approval. So if and when we decide that we're going to start building out in Comcast territory, it's going to be preceded by due diligence, including ensuring we have financial viability, and also that you're aware of what we're doing, why we're doing it, what we expect in terms of an outcome. So I was originally thinking that I wanted to kind of look for your approval of this principle, but I think really it's either do you believe, does the governing board believe that after we fulfill our Act 71 obligations, that we should continue to build to other parts of our CUD that we're not serving currently?
Well, that lack symmetrical service.
Yeah, lack the high speed.
Symmetrical fiber service.
Yeah. Thanks, Ellie. And considering that we're already over time here, would anyone? I don't want to extend this too long. Let's do this. I think that we should have a robust conversation about this. How do you feel about thinking about this in the next few weeks? And we'll raise it again when our backs are not against the wall, trying to get the meeting to palace off. Would anyone object to that? Just asking you to give it some thought. Okay, great. Let's just do that. That'll probably be best. All right, so let's move on. Is there anything else that any of you would like to talk about before we adjourn? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Second. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy your weekends. Happy holidays.
Ellie, would you stay on for just a second?
Sure thing.